Sure. Thanks a lot. Matthew Lee, Inner City Press, on behalf of the Free UN Coalition for Access. Thanks a lot for the briefing. Yesterday in the council, at the end, the Chargé d'Affaires of South Sudan denied vociferously that there's any Dinka domination planned by the government. He said that's not what the government is about. And I wanted to ask you about in Ye, for example. It said that not just that the government was moving Dinka residents out in advance of an attack, but that, in fact, the UN convoys played some role in that. What I've heard is that, number one, the aid that got into Ye was mostly for the Dinka that lived there, and that the trucks that brought the aid, in fact, were the ones that evacuated Dinka citizens back to Juba. So I wanted to know, were you aware, you were saying how the the UNMISS is underfinanced and has the camps, but there are also photographs of UNMISS flying some fairly controversial SPLA figures from Nizar, from other places, basically kind of working with the government. So I wanted to know, were you able to sort of check whether the mission is becoming also even this militia, the Mathian Anur? What is the relationship between UNMISS and that militia? Do they ever work together? Does UNMISS believe that it's a ethnically based militia? And the final question would be: the U.S. is proposing imposing sanctions on Riek Machar, Paul Malong, and the information commissioner. Do you think that will be perceived as being by going after Machar and not Kiir? Is it one-sided? Do you think President Kiir bears some responsibility? And what do you think of this sanctions proposal? Thanks a lot. Sorry, I just wanted to ask you that.
Well, I mean, as I said yesterday, I mean, the political leadership of this country need to be called to order. And that's one of the reasons why I even supported that one look into their assets. Because at the end of the day, here is a country which is falling down, where people are near to die tomorrow, not only because of the arms, but also dying of, in addition, of famine. And I'm not surprised, of course, that the South Sudanese representative denies. I mean, he is in his role. But because the same, the Minister of Information denying that there is no risk of a famine, there's no food insecurity coming. I mean, because at the end of the day, it is the responsibility of the government to make sure that they deliver the necessary for their population. But they can't. And even the security today at the central government level, they cannot really ensure, I would say, assume that primary responsibility of protecting their population. President Salva Kiir, while I was there, had to instruct the governor of the state to take control of the security within their region. But even that would be extremely difficult. I mean, in Ye, for instance, when I asked the judges who could handle the cases, some of them had already fled the town. So that means the rule of law has broken down in that area. Now concerning UNMISS relation with SPLA, I mean, UNMISS cannot, of course, operate without the cooperation of the SPLA. I mean, that is, even to fly from Juba to Ye, I needed to have a clearance from the SPLA. Without the clearance from the SPLA, I could not have been able to travel. And it was I lost it more than 3 hours waiting for that clearance to come. But I got it at the end, and I was grateful to the government of South Sudan, not only for allowing me to visit the country, but also facilitating that clearance. So it's important. Now concerning the militia, I don't know about that case and the relationship you have indicated, but what I can say is that today, in addition to the SPLA-IO, we are unfortunately witnessing the emergence of new armed groups. And those groups, why they decided to go into, as I said, this area, is simply because as I was saying earlier, for them, the gun is the way to survive. And that's one of the reasons some of them are asking to join the cantonment, because they can be then incorporated. At least they can have food, they can have clothes. So we have to bring this to a stop, Yeah.
Thanks. And then thanks very much for giving us your time. I'm grateful
It's
for
always a
that.
pleasure to meet the friends from the press. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Have a good weekend, everyone. Thanks very much,
Thanks.
sir.